A crash course on how to reach your fitness goals, whatever they may be, the most efficient way possible. That's what we're going to cover in today's video. So what's up guys, my name is Neil. I help people get into the best shape of their life. If you are someone who wants to get in the best shape of their life, go ahead, hit the like button and subscribe if you are not subscribed yet so you can continue to get amazing information that you can utilize for your own journey. Grab a pen and pencil because I'm going to explain these 4 things that you need to do pretty fast. And so I want you to jot down some notes, rewind if you need to, just so you can get all the information necessary. And so let's start with number 1. And that, guys, without saying, is nutrition. You can never outwork a bad diet. It holds true 10 years ago, 100 years ago, it holds true today. You truly cannot achieve your fitness goals if you are not eating the right foods. If you are someone who constantly eats fast food a couple times a week, even if it's 3 times, you really do need to cut that out because you're not getting any sort of nutrients from that. And it's just a bunch of empty calories that are going to be stored as fat. You do, however, need to implement whole foods. Things like broccoli, onions, bell peppers, sometimes tofu, eggs, steak, sometimes salmon. And these are foods that I'm literally just listing off because I eat them on a regular basis, guys. Notice these foods are just one simple ingredient. Don't overcomplicate nutrition. Yes, you need to increase your vegetable intake. That goes without saying, guys. You also need to make sure that you're getting an adequate amount of protein. Protein is so important because while we're doing this, we want to be able to build some nice, strong, lean muscle so that our metabolism can boost up. So guys, get foods that have one simple ingredient. Find a whole bunch of recipes that you can utilize with these ingredients from Pinterest, from YouTube, so many resources, and make yourself some really delicious, healthy meals on a regular basis. I guarantee you're going to look at yourself a year later on your path and you're going to truly thank yourself for that. The next one, guys, is exercise. And now I know a lot of people are like, oh, resistance training is the best. Oh, cardio is the best if you want to drop fat. However, I'm not going to sway either way. I truly believe that there are benefits to both. Resistance training is super good because, again, it's going to not only increase our bone density, making our bones strong, but it's also going to increase the size of our muscles, or muscle hypertrophy, which, like I said earlier, is going to boost your metabolism, burning more calories at rest. On top of that, if you do cardio to add with that, that's super healthy for your heart. Your heart, guys, is a muscle, so you need to work it out on a regular basis. And resistance training and cardio combined is a really good way in order to get all these benefits. Now, you don't need to be in the gym either for an hour or 2 hours. I am in and out of the gym within 30 to 45 minutes. That is how short my workouts are because I, just like yourself, live a busy life. And so I cannot just spend copious amounts of hours in there. And so even if you're a beginner, guys, and you are very anxious about starting any sort of resistance training, don't feel like you need to push so much weight. If you need to start with body weight, that is going to be perfect. But always try to push yourself a little bit every week, every month, and you'll notice the progress over time. And I guarantee you're going to be amazed at just how strong you can become in a short amount of time. The next one, guys, is sleep. Sleep, probably the most overlooked aspect when it comes to your health and reaching your fitness goals and dropping some fat. When we get our full 8 hours, as they say, what you're actually going to notice is that when you wake up in the morning, you just feel so much more refreshed. This is because we have all this adenosine that builds up throughout the day. Adenosine, as you guys maybe know, is the same exact receptors in your brain that caffeine in coffee actually blocks in order to keep you awake. So after caffeine's kind of done its job, now adenosine has now attached to these sites, and that's what causes you to kind of start to fall asleep and feel a little groggy. So when we are asleep and we're getting our full 8 hours, we have our glymphatic system, which works best at night, which is going to come in and reduce the amount of adenosine buildup in the brain. So you'll notice the longer you sleep, usually a good amount, like 7 to 9 hours, you'll wake up super refreshed. This is because the glymphatic system has reduced the amount of adenosine. If you don't get enough sleep, or maybe if you sleep too much, what you can notice is that you feel a little bit groggy. This is because you still have adenosine buildup in your brain, and the glymphatic system was not able to reduce the amount in the time that you were asleep. Not only does it affect your mood, guys, but it also affects how hungry you become. Let me explain this real quick. You have two different hormones. You have leptin and ghrelin. I want you to think of leptin as your satiety hormone. It's the one that tells your brain, hey, I'm good, I'm not hungry, I'm chilling. Ghrelin, on the other hand, when that gets elevated, that kind of tells your body like, hey, I need some energy. I need you to feed me. It's your hunger hormone. Well, when you get a good amount of sleep, guys, your leptin increases and your ghrelin goes down. So ultimately, you just feel more satiated. You just have this satiated feeling throughout the day, which honestly, if you're trying to drop some fat, that is a great feeling to have. But when you don't get enough sleep, ghrelin goes up, so you feel more hungry and your leptin goes down. So you're feeling more hungry throughout the day. On top of that, even if you do eat when that response happens, because you did not get an adequate amount of sleep, your metabolism is not running at its peak performance. So it's actually a little bit slower than if you got a good amount of sleep. So when you don't get good sleep, guys, your ghrelin is up, so you're hungrier, and your metabolism is a little bit slower. So you're not burning as many calories. This is a recipe for building more fat, and we don't want that. So make sure you get a solid 8 hours of sleep every single night. And then the last one, guys, is intermittent fasting. I have been intermittent fasting and practicing this for 6 years of my life, and I don't regret any bit of it. I have learned so much along the way, and I do believe that if you are someone who truly wants to drop body fat and make the body as efficient as it possibly can be, intermittent fasting is one of the best and simplest things that you can do. Let me explain how it works. And no, it does not mean you're just gonna starve all the time. That is not the point of intermittent fasting. There are actual scientific reasons why intermittent fasting is such an amazing intervention if you are trying to drop body fat. So once we don't consume calories for an extended period of time, we're talking about 8 to 10, 12 hours of not consuming any calories, what's actually going to happen once the glucose in your blood is used up, once all the glycogen from your liver is used up, your body is actually going to start tapping in to its fat stores as a source for energy in the form of ketones. So really what's happening from that 10 or 12 hours all the way until you actually have that first meal, your body is solely running on its fat. And that sounds too good to be true, but that's actually how it works. A book that I read is called The Obesity Code by Dr. Jason Fung. He is a nephrologist over in Canada, and he specifically utilizes intermittent fasting for his patients. He works with patients who have type 2 diabetes or are obese, and so they have a big insulin resistance issue. Once they implemented intermittent fasting, it was amazing to see the responses that they had when it actually came to dropping weight, because they've tried every single intervention prior to that, but as soon as they did intermittent fasting, this is when his patients saw the best transformation possible. It's all about keeping our insulin levels low, because when we do that, this is what's going to metabolize fat. However, when we consume stuff like carbohydrates, refined sugars specifically, this is what spikes our insulin, and this is why we deposit fat specifically in the abdominal area. It's not necessarily the food, it's more of the insulin response that you're getting from the food that is causing the fat storage to happen. And so intermittent fasting gets rid of that because you're not consuming anything. So those levels of insulin stay low throughout the entire time that you're fasting, and your body's going to use fat as an energy source. Now, what kind of schedule do you start with when it comes to intermittent fasting? Personally, I started on a 16-8 regimen. What that means is that for 16 hours, I'm going to be fasting while I have an 8-hour eating window. Now, my eating window has changed throughout the time, but when I started this, I had an eating window from 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. And so after 7 p.m., I did not consume a single thing. The only things I would consume is water, some green tea, or some black coffee. No cream, no sugar, no nothing like that. Just water green tea, coffee. And honestly, guys, you'll be so surprised just how full you can actually feel if you give this time to actually work in your body. If you are someone who has constantly had a breakfast the first thing in the morning and then you've constantly ate before you go to bed, this is going to be a huge adjustment for you. However, if you stay strong and you continue with this for a couple of weeks, you will be surprised just how adaptive your body is going to be and how easy intermittent fasting can be for you. I guarantee you this is going to be a super weapon if you are looking to drop fat. And so that is it for the video, guys. I hope you found so much value in this. I know I went pretty quick. I'd love to actually go in detail a little bit more in the future, but if you do have any questions about anything I mentioned, again, this is just free advice that I love to give to people. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to provide some value and help you in your fitness and weight loss journey. I'll catch you guys in the next one.